In this video, I'm going to share my experience with the Cricut Maker 3 and try to explain how I came up with a few reasons of why this machine might not be the right fit for you. Also disclaimer, the footage quality of this video is very poor and limited, so at some moments I'll try to talk my way around it to convey my message more clearly. Number 1. Cutting mats. In order to keep your sheets from moving, you have to precisely press it against the sticky surface of these mats. It's pretty simple and a common method used by smaller plotters. Now, this doesn't sound bad until you try it out for yourself, because you always have to make sure that your machine is fully calibrated and that your sheets are attached as precise as possible and has no air bubbles or faults to prevent bad cutting results. If this isn't done properly, your blade will end up tearing your sheet apart. Now, this is something to be expected of happening, while at the same time I have completely overlooked that I could only cut single-sided prints because the other side would get glue on it, which is inconvenient if you want to print packages that contain images on both sides. Another issue with this is that these mats are way too fragile and wear out incredibly fast. Like I had to buy a new sheet after calibrating the machine once. They also tend to cost a lot and for some reason couldn't be bought separately in the time that I bought my machine. Could have been a stock issue because of the previous pandemic, but I'm not sure. Number 2. Software. As for the installation process, you just have to download the app and sync it with your Cricut and printer. Pretty straightforward. That is until you learn that literally everything needs to be done in the Cricut's official software. So you can't use any Adobe programs like Illustrator or Photoshop to customize your cut lines. And that's not all, because in order to print your sheets, you have to directly do this with the printer that the Cricut is synced with, which at first glance doesn't sound like an issue, but if you're like me who doesn't have a high-end color printer, you're screwed. Like I had no options available to print, so I ended up printing it in black and white at home, scanned it, and re-illustrated the border including the stickers in Illustrator, saving the file on a stick, take it to my local print shop, and then go back home to feed it to my Cricut machine. And it worked. Like I was able to fool this machine into thinking it was cutting down its original format. Seems like smooth sailing from here on out, right? Well, no. The father of hardship comes from peeling the stickers off those mats. Like I actually peeled this one as slow and careful as I could, but still ended up ruining its backside a little. This also cost so much time that I probably would save time by cutting it by hand, which is exactly what I did after getting fed up with this method. Funny enough, I ended up being faster with scissors than this machine. And yeah, sure, it wasn't as crisp as the Cricut, but it wasn't terribly different either. So, what benefits do you actually get from this machine? Now, it's also stated that the Cricut Maker 3 is able to cut wood. I haven't tried this out myself, but according to people who tried, only ended up with poor results. Number 3. Conclusion. Despite its cunning accuracy and speed, it's just not enough reason to keep this thing around. It might look promising once you take it out of the box, but it's just a smokescreen for what's about to happen next. So, in conclusion, don't buy it unless you intend to print on one side or cut fabrics or vinyl, since they don't tear like paper materials do. Now, I've been looking around for better options and learned about plotters that don't need greedy mats nor force you to stay in one program to get the job done. The sad part is that this machine costs around $2,000, so unless you have a return investment plan or if you already aren't doing well in business, I'd say save up for one and skip on these small plotters instead. One of the better or at least well-received plotters that I've seen was the GraphTech CE7060 plotter. This one doesn't use glue mats and doesn't force you to use their own software. Now, aside all of this, it's still the best thing to do your own homework on plotters and see which one suits the best for your profession. Anyways, thanks for listening to my review/rant. I hope that you learned something from all this and think twice before you buy a new plotter.